logging on. Thanks for being home, I guess. This is so exciting. I heard that a bunch of people registered for this class, and I've been excited to present it to you. I am a local Suffolk County Library patron myself. I am in West Islip, and I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a trained social worker, and over the last few years, I've been doing this KonMari work, which is Marie Kondo's method of organizing that she wrote about in her best-selling book, The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up. And she's my teacher for the KonMari method. And I have been presenting this workshop for libraries and for some businesses as well about my take on the KonMari method. I'm going to give you the KonMari 101 so you can apply it to tidying in your home. But I also have this spin on it that's kind of unique to me, because the other KonMari consultants are more from the world of professional organizing. And as a social worker, I actually like to practice KonMari almost as like a treatment modality for my clients. So I've found that this can be really helpful for your mental health, as well as having the benefits of cleaning up your space and feeling good about that. So I constantly change the title of this presentation, but this is what I was feeling for putting it together this time. Love your home, love yourself. Tidying as self-care. You know, so many people in America, at least, can relate to this issue of feeling overwhelmed by the clutter in our homes. You know, we're always one purchase away from happiness, right? We're like constantly getting these marketing messages, and we have big homes here in Suffolk County and a lot of stuff that we fill it with. And it's something that people really have a lot of shame about having a messy space. And I think that can be really difficult for so many reasons. And I'm sure everybody has your own feelings about it that you can relate to. But I am excited to present this method as a tool for you to actually address some of these things that are bothering you. Okay, let's see if I can advance. Okay, this is me with my teacher, Marie Kondo. You probably know who she is, and now you know who I am. Here's 6 key concepts of the KonMari method. Okay, I have to give a little work from home disclaimer here. I have 3 kids and a big dog, and the dog is trying to eat something in the same room where I'm speaking right now, so I have to address it. She's tearing something apart. I'm so sorry. It's a pandemic puppy. I'll be back in 1 second. Okay, everybody understands, I'm sure. All right, so the 6 key concepts of the KonMari method, I guess you had a moment to read, starts just like any form of therapy with a commitment. So it's not going to work for you if you're not there willingly. and ready to embark on this process. And this is different from traditional home organizing, in that it's actually going to be something that you'll do as a once in a lifetime event. We call it a tidying festival. And you'll clean up through all the categories in your home. And if you complete the tidying festival, Marie Kondo says that she guarantees you'll be cured. You'll never return to your messy ways, and you'll be clutter-free forever. So it's kind of exciting promise, but it's really, really exciting that it's true. You do get to experience life-changing magic along the way and at the end, and I'll tell you what that means. So the first thing that you do after that commitment is a visioning exercise where you will do, whatever kind of practice works for you. Some people like to make vision boards. If you're working with someone, I would help guide you in this. But really what you want to do is envision what you want your home to look like and how you want your home to feel when you're there. And that is going to be the basis for all the decisions that you'll make throughout the process. Something that's very different about this method, rather than other methods, is that we tidy by category, not location. Right. If you think about how you would just typically go about straightening up, I know for me, I would start in the kitchen, and I would never ever get out of the kitchen. There's always something to do in there, like dishes, or if you cook, then you end up having to clean. And it's just like there needs to kind of be permission to get away from what you're seeing in a location, to make sure that you can address everything in the home. So we do categories, not location. The next key concept is that you follow the categories in order, and you'll see those in a moment. And here's the main like kind of tagline that Marie Kondo is known for, to the choose what sparks joy, right? So she has this kind of like, she does this very uplifted kind of posture when something sparks joy for her that is very cute. And that's what we're going to be trying to do, find out what sparks joy for you. And the sixth concept that's important is that storage, any storage that you're going to do, is temporary. So you're always able to move things around, and you never have to worry about something not working because you can always change it. So this is, something that I've already mentioned, that this is my take on it, that tidying can be a tool for self-care. And I also believe that it can be really transformative for people. This is why I think it's true. First, people who call me for this help in tidying, they don't just need help organizing. People call for this kind of support when they're in some kind of a big life transition moment, like a loss, right? Where you end up with things from someone else who's gone, or a move, right? It could be a happy transition, like a new baby. Babies come with all that stuff that we think we need. And there's really something pathological, not um not always, but in a lot of the time there's something pathological that's happening there that you can see in what's being covered up. And what I like to do is help people through a life review process through that examination of their possessions. So it really gives you a chance to look back at the seasons of your life that have passed by, letting these memories come up for you. And telling the stories as you pull things out. So it's really a very careful and intentional process. It's not just, buying a lot of stuff from the Container Store and, making things aesthetically pleasing. It's about really being super thorough and allowing yourself to go there and look in the deepest, darkest corners of, find what what you've been avoiding. And some variables that do affect the outcome are the level of commitment that you're ready to make, how far you do get in the festival through the steps. And then it really can be helpful if, it's something very emotionally charged that you're dealing with, to have a guide. But, it looks different for everyone. And now I'll show you a little bit about what the KonMari method looks like. So we start with that vision, and then we do a home tour. If you've seen Marie Kondo's Netflix show, Tidying Up with Marie Kondo, you'll see she does this. And I really do this with clients too. I did it when I visited people in their homes, and now you kind of have to do it on your own when I do virtual sessions. But it's kind of a chance to convey your intentions for the work to your home and to all your possessions. And it's just, it's not something that you're just gonna like attack in a haphazard way. You really have to be composed about it and ready. And these are the things that that really show that you're going to do it in the most, heartfelt way possible. So this is the most important thing that you're going to learn, is how to joy check. So that means that you pick up everything, every single thing, and decide how you feel when you hold it. Is it something that sparks joy for you? Or is it something that has served a purpose that is since been fulfilled? And, if it sparks joy, then you keep it with confidence and you cherish it. And if it no longer sparks joy and doesn't have a place in that picture of your ideal future, then you thank it and you let it go. Then after you've gone through that joy check in the category that you're working on, we do have a storage technique. There are specific rules about how to store things, and it's very fun and organic. It's according to the aesthetics of joy. But I always like to say that it doesn't matter how it looks, it's just about how it feels. And then you repeat steps 3 through 5 for each category. So I don't think I got to talk about gather all the things. So that part's to make sure that you're confronted with the amount of stuff that you have, so that you can process how much you want to have, rather than just kind of like accepting the fact that you have everything that you have. You're going to look at, say, all of your clothes in one humongous pile. And if I find that a client is kind of upset and shocked by the amount of clothing that they have, I know that they're not comfortable with it, right? So you will learn to pay attention to your own reaction to things. And for the KonMari method, it's not minimalism. So there is no magical number of items that you can keep. You keep what sparks joy. But for a lot of people, you'll see that you have too much, right? That's the common experience. So here's a little bit more what the visioning looks like if you're going to do this on your own. So you want to do as clearly as possible, paint the picture of your ideal lifestyle. Right. This is why a vision board is a cool exercise, because it's actually visual, right? So, pick out from photos and magazines what kind of look or feel you want for your home. Just totally tossing reality out the window. Just let your imagination and your heart be your guide. And that is going to guide you. That vision is very important, because you'll check every decision against that vision of, does this item fit into that picture of the future that I see for myself? And the home tour and greeting is part of that process of how we prepare before you begin the work. Sorry, my kids and my husband are having too much fun. I'm gonna have to close the door. I'm sorry again. Evening presentation was. Apologize. Okay, so the home tour, the greeting, and the visioning are I see as all part of the preparation for the work. You'll walk around and actually think of it as your home being a museum of your life. It's all, just enjoy it as if you're looking at an exhibit about the different things that you've brought into your home over time, right? And there should be no judgment here. It's just noticing. So kind of like an active meditation. All you're doing is tuning in at this point to what you're finding in your home. How are you currently using this space? And how would you like to use the space? What kind of activities would you ideally like to enjoy at home? And how do you feel in the space? And how do you want to feel when you get home, when you're in your home? And remember, those are the feelings that you're going to make sure that you feel when you make these decisions to support that ideal future. Okay, so here are the categories, and remember, the order is important. The order actually is supposed to be from easiest to most difficult. And that's so that the decision making according to what sparks joy really becomes a habit for you. So we start with clothing because you already know how your clothing makes you feel, right? Physically, it touches you already. So you know if that piece of clothing suits you or not, right? Like, you can make this pile of clothing and then easily pick out your favorites. And that's what we're going to do throughout every category. You're looking for what sparks joy. So try to avoid actually taking stuff out that you're ready to let go of, and instead have a positive focus and pull out what you're going to keep, not what you're going to let go of. So I'll tell you a story. I had a client who had was feeling very nervous upon our first meeting, and we had spoken on the phone, but we had never met. And all of a sudden I'm asking her after the home tour and greeting to make a huge pile of clothing, all of her clothing, on her bed. And it was like, really? Oh no, I don't want to do this. And I'm feeling so uncomfortable, like, I hate my job right now. Like, I'm making this woman so uncomfortable. This is so weird and intimate, and she doesn't want to do it, but I'm gonna just stay true to the method. Let's do this. Go through the uncomfortable process. Sometimes therapy feels like that, right? And so she does it. I help her. We put all of the clothing that she has, gather everything in that category from wherever it is around the house, and it all goes together. That way you can see, where you have duplicates of things and triplicates or whatever. And she has this mountain of clothing, and I asked her to now find something and to pull out that sparks joy for her. Show me something that you love to wear. And surprisingly, it was really easy for her. All of a sudden, her demeanor changed. She was so ready to do this. She picked out a pair of pajamas right away, and she just had this physical reaction to it that was like, now she was comfortable. She was holding these soft, comfortable pajamas that she loved, and she felt so good in. And I could tell from, I'm doing this because this was like, I remember her body language. It was like, she was hugging it, and her face softened. And I was just trying to pay attention to all of these signs that she was showing to express that feeling of comfort. And joy in this case was comfort for her. And we then used that as the benchmark. That was like setting the joy meter. So now from there, you learn, what does your body do? What does your face do when you find something that feels good? There's often a lot of maybes and I don't know when we do this through a giant pile of clothes, but I always know whether or not the item sparks joy because it shows in the person's face. And if you're doing one of these or like, you know, if you're unsure, your body will tell you. Your body knows how you feel in clothing. So another way to ask this question, if does it spark joy, doesn't make sense to you? For clothing, you could say, am I looking forward to wearing this again? Because everything that you wear from this day forward, when you, after you've considered everything in the clothing category, should be your favorite thing to wear. Wear your favorite clothing every day, right? What kind of day are you going to have if you put on something that you don't feel your best in? And what kind of day are you going to have if you're wearing your favorite outfit? You know, that's the kind of day we should be having every day. We don't have time for, you know, downgrading our wardrobe anymore. Even though we're home, we're still home. Let's enjoy. My kids know how to do this. They dress up in costumes and they put makeup on. They're 4, 6, and 8-year-old girls, and they, you know, they don't hold back. They only want to wear the fanciest dresses in their closet, and it's a great lesson to think that way. So then you just kind of carry forward that those criteria through all the categories. While we're on clothing, I found a 2-minute video to share with you. Okay. So it's, you know, it's a funny thing to pay such close attention to the way that you fold your underwear, but it's, you know, it can be very cathartic in our very busy, important lives, right? To take the time to lay your hands on each item of clothing in this loving way. You assess the condition of your clothing, and you can determine the way that you're responding to it and how you feel, because you should not be wearing underwear that's uncomfortable, right? So, when you're going through this process, you're going to discover what your preferences are and learn to prioritize feeling good about what's in front of you. Oh, am I going to get stuck here? All right, let's see. No, you don't want to watch that again. Sorry. We'll advance. Okay. So after clothing is books. And as library patrons, I know this is something that's not going to be easy for people to address, but it's very, very helpful, and it actually will lead to more reading, and that in my experience. So what you're going to do, similar to clothing, is take all of your books off the shelves from everywhere they're stored and wake them up. So we put them in piles on the floor and touch them. And because it's very tempting to just look at your bookshelf and try to evaluate for joy that while they're displayed, nicely, but take them down and then decide with confidence which books belong in your Hall of Fame, right? Which books do you just always want to see as part of your library in your home? Which books are reminders of things that you don't care about anymore, right? Maybe hobbies that are no longer, interesting to you, or books that you didn't finish and you look at kind of feeling guilty for not having the time to read. You should only see things on your shelf that you're excited to see, right? That things that you want to read. And it's a great process of rediscovery to look at all of the titles of your books and remember what you have. Don't start reading until you're done, but get excited about what you're going to read. So, there was something controversial that Marie Kondo said recently about a specific number of books that people should stay within, but again, there's no magic number. That it's whatever sparks joy for you, but just no guilt on the shelf. That's more important. Okay, so paper is the third category, and it's getting more difficult, as you can see. So paper is harder to find joy in, and Marie Kondo's ideal situation is that we're all paperless. And I do know someone who's totally paperless, but only one person. So it's not really that typical. And I've decided that there are 3 subcategories of paper that you can keep. One is paper that prompts you to take action, or requires action, like a bill. And then there's paper that you keep forever, like important documents, and paper that you'll keep for some period of time, like to reference frequently or infrequently. And the recommendation is to store all of your paper together. So with that crazy ideal, being paperless in mind, allow yourself to get rid of a ton of paper. Anything that you kept, like coursework is something that we see a lot. The best time to read that material is when you're taking the course. You're probably not going to reference the course material again. So let that go, let go as much as you can. Only keep these things, and don't feel like you have to create a super complicated filing system. The best thing is actually to store it all together and upright if you can, so that it's easy to flip through, and you'll see what you've kept every time you look for something, because there is no particular order. And that is, I have to tell you this crazy story about a client the other day found her divorce papers under like catalogs and old mail that was not nearly as important as those papers. And that's why I was so happy to have my social work skills, because we had to stop there and unpack that a little bit, like, why are your divorce papers here? But that's typical. That's actually typical. I've seen really crazy things come out of boxes, and it's, we've already let go of the self-loathing and judgment at this point in the process. So it's just time to, accept what you find and impart some self-love, and be happy that you've rediscovered whatever it is, and tell the story, give yourself a chance to uncover it and move past it. So after paper is what we call kimono, which means, I think, pretty much miscellaneous. And there are a ton of different kimono subcategories that you'll have to do at this stage. So it's like garage would be one of those subcategories. Kitchen is one, you go through all of your kitchen stuff, but just stay in whatever subcategory you're on to make sure that you're doing it completely. And the thing that can be kind of fun about this part of the process is you can choose which subcategory you want to do next. So like if you're feeling compelled to do something like electronics, then you do that. Or, if it's something like, that's another one. Well, bathroom is kind of a good one because if you hadn't broken the house up into categories, maybe you would never pull everything out of your bathroom and decide which products that I've been collecting are my favorite. Like you don't have to hold on to things. And also things expire, right? This is a chance to refresh what you have and really get to dust off those shelves when you take everything out. So that's another benefit. And I wrote, there is a lot of stuff in your house, but there is a finite number of things. So as long as you embark on this journey and don't shop, you can get through everything in your house. And once you do that, you're done. It's a once in a lifetime event, remember. So after you've done all those subcategories, now you're really good at making decisions. You're checking everything against your vision of your ideal future. And now you're ready to do the hard things that you've put aside until now. And the fifth and final category is sentimental. So there's photos, right? And it's very liberating to throw out, let go of photos that you don't get excited about, that you don't feel joy when you look at. Um, you now have permission to look at something, give it another moment to be grateful for, that experience or that instant that it captured, and then thank it and let it go. You're only going to keep things around you from now on that bring you joy. So if you don't like the memory that comes up in a photo, you don't have to keep it. In fact, you shouldn't, right? And I know digital clutter is its own thing too. And it's like a little bit harder to tackle than photos that are printed out. But this is something that you can't do until you're an expert, right? Until you've reached this category, if you've done it in order, because things that are sentimental will derail your progress. And you can find things that are sentimental in any of those previous categories, right? Like I am working with this woman who does sailing races, and so in clothing she has this collection of t-shirts from regattas that she's done, and she says, okay, so I'm going to go through all my regatta t-shirts before I talk to you again. And I was like, no, 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 you have to put those in sentimental and do them later, because it's too hard. Anything that's going to make you stop and remember something, that's like an experience, or she had lost her husband. So it was like going to bring up all of those memories about, their past. And it's wonderful. It is something that she's going to have to do, but she's not ready for that because she's just on clothing. And I encouraged her to start with socks, because what I want her to do is to decide which type of socks she prefers and really get good at that and making the decisions quickly and decisively. And then at some other point in time, she'll dedicate a session to regatta t-shirts, right? Because there's more to that will come along with that needs to be really given its, proper acknowledgement of, why did you keep it? And what does that mean to you, right? So socks are different. Socks are easier. It's a practice for the harder stuff. So once you've completed sentimental, what does life look like, right? Everybody asks me, oh my gosh, your house must be so organized. Like, what is that like? And the truth is, my house is totally crazy. It's just that it's very easy to straighten up when I want to, but it's like, I do feel so much better about my house after going through this process. And all I have to do from now on is edit it, right? But I do have these criteria for everything that comes into the house. So I have a lot of confidence in what my house feels like. and I don't worry that much about how it looks. So I am comfortable entertaining guests even if I have a sink full of dishes, because it's really okay, right? Like, we shouldn't feel like the way our house looks is important. I mean, it it is a reflection of you, but that's why it should only be filled with things that you are comfortable telling a story about yourself or about your life, right? So going back to photos, for example, the only photos that should remain would tell the story that you want to convey about the history of your life, right? If you don't organize your photos and pull out the ones of like your ex-boyfriends, then what is the story like gonna say about your life if you leave them and no one knows who that guy was, right? So it's important to only have things that you're comfortable presenting to the world. Um, and really, these are the criteria that you'll apply to everything from here on out. So it changes your relationship with shopping, right? This is the reason why there is no rebounding if you've completed the process, because you have a new mindset about stuff. And the folding method helps you to hold on to this attitude of gratitude for what you have, right? If you only have what you love, then you always have enough, right? So it's not about, this isn't only a very a privileged thing either. It's about being grateful and cherishing the things that you have, no matter how much or little you have. And really, it's easy to straighten up because everything has a home, and and there's always editing in every category, but that's because your tastes change, or the circumstances change, like the situation we're in now. And then here is, I think, really why this is important, is because beyond cleaning up your house, you can apply this method to everything else in your life. Time, right? Fill your schedule and your calendar only with activities that you're excited to show up for. Is your money in line with your values, like the way you spend your money? Your relationships. I have a handful of friends who are certified KonMari consultants who have reevaluated their relationships and ended up getting divorces, which is kind of crazy, but it's like so powerful to think about that the people that you're with need to be joy sparking for you. Of course, that's true. And once you start to view the world that way, it changes you. And, sometimes you have to change your situation as a result of that. And Marie Kondo's latest book that just came out in April, which was very strange timing, is Joy at Work. So there is definitely an application to considering your career and everything that you're doing in your career, right? Is your is that meeting that you're preparing for going to advance the real goals that you have for your job? You know, what talents do you have, and are they being highlighted? And, you know, are you fulfilling your potential at work? And I also really, through going through looking at everything in your house, I think that this is an opportunity to evaluate all of your possessions, and then beyond that, evaluate the way that you function throughout the day, like in examine your routines, your self-care rituals, and elevate things into practices that are inspiring and enjoyable for you. So basically, tidying has many benefits, but I like to think of it as something that can be really important for your happiness and pursuit of joy. It can be helpful to look at what you've decided to take into your home over time. Remember all the stories of the things that you've held on to. Thank everything for the purpose that it served, and apply this method and those criteria for seeking joy to other areas of your life. So I hope you enjoy the life-changing magic that comes out of this method. And I would love to hear about, what you think of it, or what your individual challenges are, and help you think through it. And I'm so glad to have spent the evening with you.